All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Friday. Come on, everybody should be in a good mood, unless this is your Monday. In that case, it's okay. You don't have to be in a good mood. But I know it's my weekend coming up, that's for sure. And we got a lot to get to, a lot to go over here in the final hour. Coming up, by the way, at the bottom of the hour, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's a great show on the Strip at Bally's. It's called Potted Potter. It's a parody, of course, to Harry Potter. A couple guys from the show are going to be joining us in studio. And we're going to be giving away some tickets to that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be coming up here in a little bit. Some crazy stories in the sports world that I want to get to. I want to start with this. I'm not a big NASCAR fan. I never have been. To each his own. I don't find cars going around in a circle over and over again that much fun. But obviously when you say the name Dale Earnhardt, obviously Dale Earnhardt, a legend in the sport, one of the best of all time, if not the best in NASCAR racing. Of course, he tragically died doing what he loved to do. And it looked like a minor car crash. From watching it on TV, obviously he's going 150, 200 miles an hour. And when you crash into a wall, obviously that's very serious. But when you look at the crash and you go back to it years ago, it doesn't look that serious. He lost his life. The legend, Dale Earnhardt. And then, of course, his son, following in his father's footsteps, Dale Earnhardt Jr., another legend in the sport. Well-respected for years. He recently retired a few years ago. And this is just a wild and crazy story when you look at the carnage and the wreckage, not in a race car, but in a plane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family and two pilots, it is a miracle. They survived this fiery plane crash. And if this happened yesterday, trust me, folks, if you see the video of this and it's out there, you're going to say to yourself, how the hell could have anybody survived this plane crash? Well, there were no injuries, too. Forget about just survival. They went to the end of the runway at this airport in Tennessee. The crash happened at around 2:40 p.m. yesterday, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. So here's what we know about the crash. It plowed through a fence and then caught fire. Crashed near the end of the runway. It went through this fence, and a video shared by a guy by the name of Scott Reese on Facebook showed the fiery wreckage as people walked away from the wreckage, and authorities rushed to the scene. Earnhardt, his wife and daughter, and two pilots and dog quickly rushed out of the plane away from the scene as authorities arrived. The fencing was wrapped around the crashed plane but did not block the cabin doors. Thank God. They could have burned alive in there. Could have been horrible. Dale Earnhardt was discharged from the hospital just for observation, for precautionary measures. He will not be broadcasting the races this weekend, rightfully so. And I bring up his father for this reason, and this is an interesting discussion, JD. Maybe we can, when somebody dies in a plane crash, I remember there was, in a race car, people want to call it a tragedy. And listen, I understand why people say that.
But you're assuming the risk.
Exactly. That was my next point. It's kind of like, we've had a couple boxers, right, that have died in the course of the last month.
Yeah, Maxime Dadashev.
Yeah, we've had a few boxers that lost their life, sadly. And yes, it's a tragedy, but then I also say, you know what? If a kid gets hit by a car and loses his life, that's a tragedy.
That's a real tragedy.
When somebody gets killed by a drunk driver, you guys understand the point I'm trying to make here.
Right.
There's a lot. Listen, nobody wants to see a race car driver lose his life. Nobody wants to see a boxer lose his life. Make no mistake about it, it's horrible, and I feel terrible for the family, the friends, everything in the sport. But when you're driving 200 miles an hour and you decide to do that for a living with about 30 other race cars, you're taking an enormous risk. It's kind of like the guy...
When you're competitively driving 200 miles an hour and you're making not just a living, a massive living and a name for yourself doing so, you are absolutely assuming the risk.
Right. It's kind of like the guy that bungee jumps every day or, hang glides or when you do things like this, you're taking an enormous risk. It was sad when Dale Earnhardt lost his life. Make no mistake about it. But with that said, everyone's saying, oh, my God, this is a horrible tragedy, and nobody saw this coming. What the hell are you talking about? I don't care how good of a race car driver he is. He's driving over 200 miles an hour every weekend, and he's risking his life.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a statistic. It's an expectation. A tragedy is when 15 Jewish people are at a synagogue in Pittsburgh and someone
Right.
comes in and murders them.
Exactly. Or
That
you're in-
is a tragedy. Or
Right.
when 10 kids are sitting in a classroom and a kid comes in with a gun and shoots them, that is a tragedy.
Yeah, if you're in Texas and you're with your family and you walk into a Walmart and all of a sudden some white supremacist nut job decides to execute your parents, that's a tragedy.
Why? Because you go to Walmart to buy groceries. You're not armed. You're not expecting to deal with a crazy person coming in to end your life. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his father,
Yeah.
they're driving a car, like you said, 200 miles an hour, making millions of dollars for it.
And listen, I have sympathy for any family and friends that lose a loved one, whether it's NASCAR or in boxing. I don't know if I'd call it a tragedy. It's sad. It's unfortunate. There are real tragedies out there in the world. This would have been a tragedy. If Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family, his wife, his 2 kids had lost their lives, thank goodness they didn't. This would have been an awful tragedy. Make no mistake about it, this is a miracle. And again, when you look at the carnage, when you look at the wreckage of this plane crash, you'll be saying to yourself, how the hell could anyone have gotten out of there alive? They all did, and no injuries, which is just, it's mind-boggling to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling, but we're very, very happy to report that his family is doing fine. They're doing okay. He's taken the week off from work. He does a great job as a broadcaster for NASCAR, but they are taking that week off. And I don't blame him, certainly, for doing that. And we'll continue to monitor this, but it seems like everything is going to be okay. And a lot of people in the sports world, not just NASCAR, are sending their best wishes to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family, rightfully so. This is also a story that we've been talking about for a little while here. We talk a lot about the Raiders. Of course, we were at the stadium last week, and that's going to be done soon. You know, I think within 10 months, if I'm not mistaken, JD, isn't it 10 months, and the stadium will be done? Is that correct?
It'll be done before the 2020 season starts.
Yeah.
So
obviously.
we'll say spring,
a year,
spring 2020.
Yeah. So Raiders receiver Antonio Brown, dealing with this helmet saga, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, he wants to wear this uncertified helmet, and the NFL is saying no, you can't do it. And I guess he was quoted in an article saying that he would threaten to quit football if the league didn't allow him to do it. Well, now he's backtracking on that, and he's saying that whoever did that interview and whoever wrote that story, he's saying it's completely false and it's a lie, and he never said that. He spoke to reporters, and he said, quote, I'm like, where did you get that from? He also went on to say, I never said that, but that's the hardest part. For me as an athlete, you have to have tough skin, unlike Donald Trump. Sorry, I put that one in there. And not pay attention to what people say, because not everyone hates me. Maybe just a small percentage of people. I like to focus on the big picture. But if you guys could calm it down, it would help me out, because my family gets really stressed out. So, first of all, is he lying, or is he telling the truth? Is this a lie, or is this truthful?
If this isn't, or if he didn't say what he said, then he should sue whoever wrote the article. It's very simple.
So do you think he's a liar?
I believe that he said what he said, yes.
So you think he's lying?
I think that he just came off as so completely ridiculous, and I'm sure he did. I mean, why would a guy who has a contract for $85 million for 5 years stop and turn that down because his helmet isn't the type of helmet that he wants, especially with CTE being such a big deal and the NFL doing everything they can to make it safer for players. The reason that they're not going to allow his helmet is because they have new standards based on safety measures that I'm sure some very, very intelligent doctors and health officials have instituted to help these NFL players be at less risk for brain injuries. So, yeah, it sounds completely ridiculous what he said, and I think that he's trying to backtrack on it, and now he realizes that.
So let me ask you this then. Why? Why is he doing it? Why is he making an issue out of this?
Because he sounds ridiculous.
I understand he sounds ridiculous. So you think he's just doing it to get his name out? I don't understand. Why does he need to do that?
What?
Why is he doing this? Why is he making this an issue with the helmet situation?
Why is he? Which part? The first part or the second part?
Both. Why is he doing this? What is the reasoning behind it? Why does he have such an issue with this?
I'm guessing if he really said what he said, He probably had a superstition. He probably had some type of emotional attachment to his helmet. Something weird like that. That's my guess. And now he's realizing, whoa, I almost cost myself my NFL career. I almost cost my family. I'm sure, and I don't know if he has kids or what, but I almost cost my family millions and millions of dollars, and I embarrassed myself in the process, and I think that's why he's now backtracking from his statements. But I do believe that he made those statements, and I think they're predicated on some type of emotional attachment or superstition, which isn't unreasonable. He's a sixth-round pick out of Central Michigan who got paired up with Ben Roethlisberger and has had a massive, massive career in the process.
He also, by the way, went on to say, I feel misunderstood. I'm not here to try to win people over to make people feel a certain way about me. I'm an athlete. I'm a human being. I've got tough skin. Just treat me like a human. Treat me with respect. But through it all, I've got a strong heart. He also went on to say, I don't know where they got that from. Who made that up? Why would I retire? I've got a beautiful career. I'm healthy. I'd love to play the game. Obviously, I inspire people with the way I play the game. I'm grateful to play, and I'm excited to put on the uniform. He said, I'm still trying helmets right now. As long as they're league certified, those are the helmets I'm trying out, and I'm trying out what I have. A lot of great fans sent in a lot of great helmets. He also went on to say, I'm still working with the NFL to make sure everything's legal. So he had a long session with the media. It seemed like he was pretty honest and forthcoming, but how did it get this far and how did it escalate this far? You're saying that he just realized that he kind of effed up and he's sort of backtracking on it now? Is that kind of what's going on?
Yeah, if he didn't say what he said, then sue the person who made those false representations of him that have absolutely affected the view of him for fans all over the United States.
Why is there no audio?
All over the NFL.
Why is there no audio of this, though? It doesn't matter whether you're a journalist, whether you're writing articles, or whether you're doing radio or TV. Everybody's recording things. I do find that a little interesting that there's no audio of him saying this. So, I mean, he's got a little bit of a beef there. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, we're going to continue this and monitor this story. We'll see what type of helmets he uses. We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back right after this. And you're listening to the Vegas Take right here, the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have a couple guys from the show Potted Potter joining us in studio. Pretty cool show on the Strip, so we'll be getting to them in studio here in just a few minutes. I'm sorry, I got to go back to this Donald Trump stuff because it's just absolutely killing me. Trump has made inquiries, and he did it again yesterday, about buying Greenland. Greenland. Does it matter which way I pronounce it? I don't really care. But guess what? It's not for sale. Yeah, JD, you might want to put your mic on. Thank you. Yeah, put your mic on. There you go. Good job.
It does matter. Greenland. It's Greenland, Brian.
Greenland? Okay, well, I'm going to call it Greenland because I want to.
But it's not green.
No, it's definitely not.
It's
and
very
guess
icy,
what?
very
Guess
cold.
what? Here's something else you might want to tell Donald Trump. It's not for sale. Why does he keep bringing this up? He sounds like a buffoon. It's not for sale.
It's also strategically situated between Russia. It could be a nice launching point for the military or a storing place. There is a ton of natural resources there. Gold, zinc, minerals, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's kind of a budding tourist destination. It's a good move by Trump if he can get it done, but if it's not for sale, it's not for sale. But I don't fault him for attempting to purchase it.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you fault him for this? Because he was at a campaign rally last night making fun of a man who was a little bit overweight.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Get him out of here, please.
Okay, just for the record, okay, a report by the White House doctor in February found that the president of the United States is clinically obese. This is a clinically obese orange man who likes to make fun of people. By the way, this is the worst part of the story. If that's not bad enough that the president is making fun of somebody at his campaign rally who he thought was a protester, guess what? The egg is on him. This guy was a Trump supporter. And by the way, he says he didn't care. This is the guy that was, by the way, that the president was making fun of. He said he didn't care. He still loves Trump, even though he made fun of him. That's when Donald Trump said, these people will vote for me. I can kill somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me. He was talking about this chubby guy. That's who he was talking about. You have the president of the United States that's now making fun of people because of their weight. That's what it's come down to, folks. And this is the norm. This is the norm in society right now. Oh, yeah. This guy wasn't protesting. He's actually a supporter. President also went on to say, got a bigger problem than I do. Got a bigger problem than all of us. Now he goes home and his mom says, what the hell have you just done? What is he talking about? This guy was a Trump supporter. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. We talk about this all the time. We could talk about policy. We could talk about the economy, illegal immigration. We could talk about all these important issues, and I think it's an important discussion. We should. We could talk about gun control, white supremacy, a lot of things facing this nation, a lot of issues. But the President of the United States gets on a stage and he makes fun of someone's weight. This is not a reality show. This is not about being funny. It's not about being a comedian. It's about the president getting up there and showing leadership. And a lot of Trump supporters don't care. So, JD, are you okay as a supporter of Donald Trump and all the issues that are facing this nation and all the important things that should be discussed, that when Donald Trump is on a stage,
he calls someone fat.
He makes fun of somebody's weight? I mean, do you think that is the type of person that should be leading this country?
I don't agree with. Obviously, it was a very, very. Especially, it would be different if he was, a model of good health and fitness. If he was 6'3", 180, He's 6'3", 240. He admittedly drinks Diet Coke.
243, by the way. Let's get it right.
Okay. He admittedly drinks Diet Coke constantly, which is clinically obese. But so am I. I'm 6'2" 3/4 and about 228 pounds, and I'm clinically obese.
I'm very happy to say I'm 6 feet tall and I'm 180 pounds.
But I'm not obese. I'm not heavy. I'm just built.
You're not obese. No.
I'm far, but I'm clinically obese. There's a large difference.
But that's beside the point.
Morbidly obese is an issue. Donald Trump's obviously not in great shape, and this
that's an understatement.
No, Donald, but he's also
Donnie has a six-pack.
He's also 74 years old and he doesn't drink, so he's never had a six-pack.
He looks like an orange with fake hair, and he's obese. He's clinically obese. Let's just call it what it is.
And we've gone over this already in this show, by the way. But it was a hypocritical statement because he is not in great shape himself. But this guy loves Trump. He said he's still my president. I love him. And then Trump, the president of the United States, went out of his way to call him personally and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So was it hypocritical? Was it in good taste? Obviously not.
Here's my problem with that. The only reason why he apologized to him is because he was a Trump supporter. He's saying it would be different and it would be okay if he wasn't a Trump supporter. I have a big problem with that. This is the president of the United States. You're supposed to show leadership. You're supposed to be a leader. And don't give me this nonsense that, well, he's not a politician. Not a politician. By the way, Greenland, that whole issue, as I said before, I'll say it again, he's talking about buying Greenland. It's not for sale. Is this guy an idiot? Greenland is not for sale. Why does he keep talking about this
Several presidents have done this, Brian. Several presidents over the last 50 years have attempted to purchase Greenland. I have no issue with them doing it because there's a lot of resources there, and it could be a great strategic point for our military. It's not a bad idea. If it's not for sale, it's not for sale. But him trying to make a deal.
He knows it's not for sale. Why does he keep talking about it?
Because he's trying to get it for sale.
And who's going to pay for that?
I have no idea.
Taxpayers?
I don't know what the offer is. I think if we can get it, we should. There is a lot of natural resources there, a ton. And they're all untapped because no one's there.
But when somebody says it's not for sale, why do you keep that's the part I don't understand. Why do you keep bringing it up?
Well, that's just it's business.
That's business?
That's business. Yes, absolutely. He's trying to get it for. He's trying to do what he can. Okay, in sales, do you take no for an answer first? Typically not.
This is different though. This
is
not just a regular business
but he's treating major deals like this, like the deals he had his entire life in real estate.
Well, Denmark has said that the president has gone mad if he thinks we'd sell Greenland. That's what Denmark has said. So they're not happy about this. They're not happy about the rhetoric.
So he asks the question. He gets the answer he doesn't want. So he applies pressure in other areas to try to make it happen. That's what he's doing right now.
All right. Well,
like he did with Netanyahu, with Tlaib and Omar.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that. The guys from Potted Potter are going to be joining us in studio next. We're going to give some tickets away. You're listening to the Vegas Take.